Let's have Mr. Yusuf Abubakar, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Enerplus Energy Solutions, join us to give us first-hand information on this adoption. Mr. Abubakar, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ini. How you doing? Thank you for having me today.
Great. So when we see adoption in the face of this effort by the government, is that positive? Is it negative? Is it moving?
I think it's very positive. What we've had so far, Nigerians are very adaptive people. EVs have been across. I've seen so many different EV cars in Nigeria. Just driving around different brands. So there's also been, local EV companies that are propping up from various angles. There's those value chains. So yeah, adoption has been pretty much straightforward, as far as I can tell. Like I said, Nigerians were very adaptive. We're very, hands-on when it comes to adaptation. So yeah.
These incentives by the government is paying off. But who are those adopting? Is it commercial? Is it, the private sector, those who are using it for private purposes? Or is it a mixture of both?
I think it's a mixture of all. I know the commercial guys are very hands-on because of the hike in fuel price, and if you look at what's happening between the Strait of Hormuz and the global fights that's affecting the fuel price, people would rather much go for electric. Households, most families now are looking at electric. Electric has been there for a while. Most Nigerians had electric cars, even when we look at the BMW EV back then. Now people are looking at, okay, what about the value chain? Charging stations is not just to have the electric cars anymore. The businesses are now looking at the value chain within having charging stations, decentralized locations, and which I think would eventually even help our grids. So in terms of adoption, it's all Nigerians is just what you can afford, right? Financial sectors are also coming in, and they are also trying to give finances. So I think if that is happening, there's adoption that's coming. Now we're now just going to be looking at the pricing, okay, local content, and stuff like that. So it's a mix of every Nigerian and what you can afford. For the business people, it's cost effective. For the private people, it's also cost effective, but how much, So it's just the price that matters at this point.
But would you say this, the tax waivers and tax holiday, has it really encouraged more purchases, into the country?
Yeah, I think what the presidency did was brilliant. Removing the tax from 5% to 0% was really brilliant. It will strengthen the value chain in terms of the people who are looking at it as business individuals who want to just purchase for their personal use. That would help. That would ease a lot of burden. Also, tax green credits. I think they can also, the federal government can leverage the green credits of how much EVs we're getting in terms of pollution. It's a step in the right direction. Like I earlier said, there's also financial institutions that are now looking at giving credits or loans for people who want to be able to purchase these electric cars. For me, my biggest thing is local. What are we doing locally? What are we, how are we expanding, which is also coming up just off the tax waivers, the coordination between IDEC, Nigerian customs, So I think it's a seamless structure. And I think if we can have more orientation, more encouragement, more investors, there's a lot of value chain that will be propped out of this. It's not just on the EV cars, even EV coaches, rail, they're still under the same e-mobility as far as I'm concerned.
And I'm glad you talked about the local industry because we know that also the semi-knocked down assembly plant is also a target here. Has that created any activity around there, in the local space instead of just the total import of vehicles or the mobility devices?
Yeah, I think, I'm always proud being a Nigerian because I think we're the most creative people. We've been doing SKD for a while, even just patching different parts and cars together, metal sheets, and just looking at, you know, the tax incentive that's been given zero. A lot of people I've seen over time, even up north, they've been working on assembly semi knockdown, and they've been building on it. Do we have solid brands? It takes time. We have different brands right now in Nigeria, like I said. Some of them are locally and they're SKD. But we also want to see a transition between SKD to CKD. Also to a point whereby our OEMs, our R&Ds are locally done. It will also push the value chain within the product designers. We want to see the next Johnny Ivy from Nigeria that would create a local, at least 40 to 60% locally designed and created and be exported around the world, launched in America or any part of the world as a global brand. So I think what the presidency are doing is a step on the right direction. I think we need to come together collaboratively and find a way where we can harmonize this. I know in National Automotive Design and Development Center is where you go and do most of the licenses and recommendation that needs for you to do either manufacturing plants and cost of manufacturing as well, just depending on the scale you want to go on. We're talking between 10, 15 billion to about 60 billion on an average. So these are not small money, right? So you also need that support which the presidency just started giving, with also the private sector, the state government. So it's an harmonized system that needs to come together collaboratively and work hands in hands. So I feel IDEC is there, your import duty exempted certificates. Also now you can connect with Nigerian custom online, you can upload. So these are things that are, working. And I hope we can keep the energy. We can also start looking at external investors, not just for them to import cars to us as dumping grounds, but for us to be able to add value on every part of that car, from the boat to the tires to the metal sheet. We have metal companies in Nigeria, so this should even boost our metal industry.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about that, I've heard some stories about getting spare parts, maintenance of it, the skills for maintaining it. You want to go to a repair shop, you don't just go to any repair shop or else you get worse than what you had. These issues obviously would feed into the desire for more people to adopt. How good are we when it comes to maintenance, availability of spare parts, and even the skills for it?
So I think maintenance would put that to every company, and every establishment has their structure and how they tend to want to structure their maintaining of their products, right? And that is one part where I feel if we're bringing any partnership when it comes to like manufacturing, research and development, it needs to be locally. It needs to be locally because even the staffs that are involved in the design of the products would understand, okay, what parts they are. Once you understand the parts, where they are going to, it's the same OEMs all around the world. Nigerians work in these factories outside of Nigeria brilliantly around the world. I see no reason why we can't come back home and put Nigeria first and put the first global product of Nigeria. So it's a thing where we need to be very intentional. We need to be very concise. We need to say, hey, this is what we want to do. And we want to do a proudly owned Nigerian e-mobility car. It doesn't matter the collaboration, the affiliation, but let it be locally designed by a Nigerian. There's that Nigerian factor, whether our environmental factor, these are things we need to consider. And as far as, the parts are concerned, when everything is designed and done here, it's easy for you to be able to say, okay, you know what, we have the molds. We don't have to source we have all the molds, all the parts of, so we don't have to now stretch out. And now, half of the resources we need to make the cars are uttered in Nigeria. They're on the floor, right? So it's the value chain and the partnership and the support we get from the government that would push us through. In all honesty, it's always the support from the government and also our people's adoption when it comes to we designing products or we bringing out technology that would affect the masses and also help us to grow. Because at the end of the day, I think we're in a world where we need to move forward. There's no point hanging behind. So I don't think that is a problem. I think whoever is getting into this sort of business understands the money at stake and will make sure it goes successfully. We have, a lot of brands that I wouldn't want to mention their names that have been in the automobile business. And we have also the new battery companies and EV companies that are propping up slowly, whether it's Keke Napep or the tricycles and then the normal sedans that we have.
All right.
So
All
I don't
right.
think that is a problem. I also think the institutions, we need to strengthen our institutions very
Okay.
well.
All right. Thank you so much for all of that. And I'm glad that you said that the incentives created by the government is making impact. And so we hope to push that forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Yusuf Abubakar, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Enerplus Energy Solutions Limited. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ini.